Hello, my friends, hello, and welcome once again to Stately Vaughan Manor. And today is a very important day here at Stately Vaughan Manor because today is the official launch of Roger's Cheap Old Book Club. That's right, Roger's Cheap Old Book Club. It's the cheapest book club around. Every single book that we're going to be reading and talking about, all of these books are available to download for free from Project Gutenberg. They're all in the public domain. Now, there's a lot of really great books in the public domain and are available from Project Gutenberg. I mean, there's some crappy books too, but there's a lot of really great books available from Project Gutenberg for free. And all of the books that we are going to be reading, they're available for free, as cheap as there is. It'll cost you nothing to download these books. So it's the cheapest book club around. It's fantastic. Roger's Cheap Old Book Club. Now, we've already decided on every book that we're going to be reading this year. We made a video about it. I'll link it down below just in case you missed it. But the book for February is The Prisoner of Zenda. The Prisoner of Zenda by Anthony Hope. This book was published in 1894. It was written by Anthony Hope, who was born in 1863 and died in 1956. The Prisoner of Zenda was by far his most popular book. He wrote a few books. Prisoner of Zenda was by far his most popular book. And for a long time, it was a really popular book. It is considered a classic. However, it's almost a lost classic nowadays because it's a book you rarely hear talked about anymore. And not a lot of reprint houses do editions of The Prisoner of Zenda anymore. Penguin, I don't think, has a current edition of The Prisoner of Zenda. I've been told that Oxford has a current edition of The Prisoner of Zenda, which is good. There are a couple other reprint houses that do. But certainly it's not a book you hear talked about that often, which is a shame because The Prisoner of Zenda, like I said, was at one time very important. Actually, it was pretty popular for a long time. There were a bunch of movies made that were based off of this book. And in fact, it inspired a whole genre. It inspired a genre called Ruritanian romance. I can barely say Ruritanian romance, but that is the genre that it spawned, which is basically an adventure novel that takes place in a fictional European kingdom. Usually, when it takes place is sort of vague, and where it takes place is kind of vague. But it spawned a whole genre of novels that sort of imitated, or in some cases very closely imitated, The Prisoner of Zenda. I recently read one for the Edgar Rice Burroughs Deep Dive. I read The Mad King by Edgar Rice Burroughs, which is very much a Ruritanian romance. So it spawned a whole genre, this book. It was very popular, like I said, and it actually spawned a prequel and a sequel. So after this book came out, there was a prequel, which was The Heart of Princess Ozra, which was published in 1896. And then a sequel, a direct sequel to Prisoner of Zenda came out, which was Rupert of Hentzau. I am not sure how to pronounce that word. Rupert of Hentzau or Hentzau? I'm not sure. But one of those. You know I can't pronounce anything. But that was the sequel, which came out in 1898. Now, neither Rupert or Princess Ozra really captured the magic of the first book, according to most people who have read them. I have not read either the sequel or the prequel yet, although I plan to. I have them after all, and I am on this 500 book challenge. So I got plenty of books to read, those included. But The Prisoner of Zenda definitely stands alone and stands out among all of Hope's work. I don't think I've heard really a bad thing about this book. I read this book once before, but I was young when I read it. I remember I read an old paperback copy, and I think did I get it from the library? I don't remember if I actually owned the copy or not. I might have got it from my high school library, actually. I think that's where I got this book from when I read it. It was a while ago. It's been a couple years since I've been in high school. I mean, I'm not quite as old as Roger, but, you know, almost. But it's been a while since I've been in high school. But I remember loving the book when I read it, even though now I remember very little about it. What I basically remember is there's this fella, an Englishman, I believe, who goes to this country in Europe, and he closely resembles the king, and he gets in all kinds of adventures. That's what I remember about this book. And so my knowledge on this book is minimal since I read it so long ago. And so at the end of the month, I will be giving my review of this book and talking all about this book and my thoughts on it. But in the meantime, if you join me on my Discord, Roger and I have a Discord now, and I'll link that down below, because that is where we're going to be talking about the books in Roger's Cheap Old Book Club, including this one. And this cover, by the way, was designed by Roger, based off of the film from 1937, I think. And that's important because we are going to be watching the film from 1937 tonight. I actually have a physical copy from Penguin. This is back when Penguin did make an edition of this book. And it actually has a still from the film with Douglas Fairbanks Jr. and Ronald Coleman on the cover there with their swords fighting. There's supposed to be some cool sword fights in this movie. So this is a great edition, actually, because it has the Prisoner of Zenda and it has Rupert of Hensu. I don't know. Tell me how to pronounce this word, because obviously I can't pronounce it. But it's a lovely edition. Both of these books, of course, are available from Project Gutenberg. All of the books in this trilogy of books are available from Project Gutenberg, so you can read them all for free. Now, a word about the film. So today is the last day of February. And so tonight, Roger and I are going to be watching the film, the 1937 film, I think it's 37, which was the popular one. That's the good one, from what I hear. So Roger and I are going to be watching that tonight. And so at the end of this video, there's going to be some extra footage where Roger and I watch the movie and give our movie review at the end of watching the film. So stay tuned at the end of this video for our film review. See, all kinds of exciting stuff going on as usual here at the Manor. Now, next month, in March, it's going to be, what book is next month? I have it here. The Forgotten Planet by Murray Leinster is going to be next month's exciting video. Excuse me. Well, it is going to be a video. It's our next month. It's our exciting book for March is Murray Leinster's The Forgotten Planet. Murray Leinster, who is kind of the forgotten science fiction writer, although at one time he was well known and he wrote a ton, including this book. But that is all for the future. So, read the book along with us. That would be fantastic. If you choose, you can join us on Discord and talk about the book. Roger and I are going to go watch a movie, and we will catch you next time. Oh, one further announcement. This is very important. On Thursday or Friday, I don't know which day, it marks the return, one time only return episode of the books that time forgot. You're saying, how is that possible, Mike? Didn't you talk about all those books months ago? All those books and boxes that were in the back there? Didn't you talk about all those? Well, Roger and I stumbled upon a box that we forgot to talk about because it was in another area. And it's full of great stuff. It's got Fritz Leiber in there. It's got Robert E. Howard in there. It's got Burroughs in there. It's got a whole stack of shadow novels in there that aren't the shadow novels I talked about the other day. It's going to be an amazing episode of the books that time forgot. So watch that on Thursday or Friday, whenever I get it up. And of course, tomorrow is Epic Comic Book Wednesday, when we talk about The Killing Joke. That'll be fun. I will catch you next time after the review. Hello, everybody. Okay, it's time for Roger and I to watch this movie, Prisoner of Zenda from 1937. I don't know that I've ever seen this movie, so this will be new. It's a new experience. I'm all prepared. I've got my vegan dill pickle organic popcorn. Hey, I've seen Roger eat worse things. So Roger and I are going to watch this movie, and then we're going to come back after the movie and tell you what we thought of it.
I love this movie.
So do I, Roger. It's the best. Wow. That movie was great. So, if this book is just like half as good as that movie, we're set. It's going to be a great book because that movie was fantastic. Wow. Okay, so my review of Prisoner of Zenda from 1937 is that it's awesome. 2 thumbs up from me and Roger. If Roger had any thumbs, he would thumbs up that movie too. It was a good one. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this dopey video, and I hope to see you again soon here at Stately Vaughan Manor. Okay, guys, see ya.